From our studio in Kuching, Sarawak, this is TVS Nightline. You're with me, Douglas Elliott, and this is our top story. Civil servants, especially those in Sarawak, are told to be proactive in facing the mounting challenges presented not only by the COVID-19 pandemic, but also by technological shifts. Chief Minister Dato' Petinggi Abang Johari Tun Openg said civil servants need to embed new ways of doing things in order to be innovative.
That as the government, we must be agile and responsive to the need of the citizens. At the same time, we should be proactive and foresighted in order to be innovative. This is what I would expect from all government agencies, which it is high time for Sarawak government to be innovative government.
The Chief Minister noted that one overbearing barrier to innovation is the silo mentality of government staff. That is the unwillingness to share information or knowledge between employees or across different departments.
We cannot create public value in isolation. Better outcomes need to be developed collaboratively. This is relevant not just the state government agencies, but to the federal government agencies as well.
He called on civil servants to be more collaborative and working together across all sectors, and urged them to get a better understanding of the peoples and businesses at the root level.
In a similar vein, the Chief Minister wants the state's public sector to be humble and take heed of the people's input in order to improve their services. And this will enable the government bodies to understand the types of improvement and new innovations needed in performing their task.
This ongoing drive toward a seamless and proactive government demands humility on the part of the public sector to listen to the rakyat from the grassroots and build on their insight. Only then we can achieve in bringing Sarawak to be advanced state by the year 2030.
Abang Johari added, civil servants play important roles in achieving every aspiration of the government.
And later in the afternoon, the Chief Minister announced 2 additional aid for small and medium enterprises and micro enterprises in Sarawak under the Bantuan Khas Sarawak Kusayang or BKSS 7.0 worth 78.5 million ringgit.
The 3 main focus of BKSS 7.0 include a special one-off financial assistance amounting to 10,000 ringgit to active members registered with Social Security Organisation or SOCSO, relaxation of government procurement policy, and foreign worker permit renewals in selected sectors.
Sarawak government will also provide a special one-off financial assistance of 3,000 ringgit for micro enterprises, including the family-based small business in Sarawak, registered with SOCSO as 31st March 2021. This is a new one for the micro businesses. They are also required just to provide supporting document. This financial assistance will be paid in December 2021 and is expected to benefit approximately 24,600 micro enterprises, and this will cost the government direct expenditure to hold on additional 73.8 million ringgit.
The 2 assistants are expected to cost Sarawak government a spending of 78.5 million ringgit. He hoped that with the assistance announced, it will reduce the financial burden of the business community in Sarawak and enable them to be back on their feet in the COVID-19 recovery phase.
And through continuous cooperation among every Malaysian, the country is now ready to be back on track as an investment hub for both regional and international investors. And to date, safe bubbles for all businesses with new norms are being safely put in place.
Prime Minister Dato Sri Ismail Sabri Yaakob said this was driven by creative and innovative methods implemented by the government to encourage investments.
The 12th Malaysia Plan has outlined 9 focus areas in revitalizing Malaysia's investment. Among others are in rejuvenating economic growth, strengthening economic enablers, improving social security, eradicating hardcore poverty, and narrowing income gaps throughout the nation. The uniqueness of multiracial Malaysia with diverse social strata has long provided opportunities for investors. Different race, for instance, would need different set of necessity. In another comprehension, more products and services are potentially marketable in this country.
Additionally, Malaysia provides the most conducive environment for the business communities to invest, among others, being the gateway to ASEAN market through Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, RCEP.
The 15 countries within the RCEP alone are generating almost 30% of global GDP. It has been estimated that their overall aggregate of GDP income would increase by $174 billion by 2030. This will give our corporations and micro, small and medium enterprise MSMEs a more level playing field while facilitating access to larger regional markets.
This climate of growth is further strengthened by Malaysia's consistent improvement in the field of digital infrastructure. In past years, Malaysia had witnessed rapid growth in the digital economy, online businesses, and cashless transactions. As for international stage, Ismail Sabri said Malaysia remains as an active key player in comprehensive and progressive agreements for Trans-Pacific Partnership. The international economic collaboration provides more than 500 million participations with a combined GDP of $10 trillion. Meanwhile, he said an essential component of the country's future lies in the Malaysian Digital Economy Blueprint or MyDigital and National Fourth Industrial Revolution 4IR. Commenting further, he said both of these are aligned with the National Policy on Science, Technology and Innovation 2021 to 2030, which aims to develop Malaysia into a high-tech nation by 2030.
With the 4IR, we aim to create an ecosystem within our economy that will be led by science, technology, and innovation. It will facilitate local technology development by creating economic opportunities and developing talents in areas such as artificial intelligence, the Internet of Things, and blockchain technologies.
To date, Ismail Sabri said the public and the private sectors are working together on a shared vision and strategies in ensuring inclusive environmental-friendly economic growth.
And Budget 2022 will be expansionary and lay the foundations for the government's wider and longer-term reform efforts, with sustainability continuing to be a major focus. It will be focusing on 3 key areas, namely recovery, strengthening economic resilience, and catalyzing reforms.
Finance Minister Tengku Datuk Seri Zafrul Tengku Abdul Aziz said, based on engagement sessions across numerous sectors, the government would continue to map budget initiatives to the Sustainable Development Goals. In addition, there would be increased focus on sustainability and improving the resilience of Malaysia's environment and water assets, following increased focus towards environmental, social and governance (ESG), net zero emissions targets, and further development of the circular economy. The government would also improve the labour market by focusing on hiring incentives in addition to subsidizing wages, while enhancing fiscal prudence by improving procurement and debt management process, while enhancing tax enforcement measures. In a spirit of transparency, the Finance Ministry MOF recently introduced a pre-budget statement and 4 consultation papers, a first in Malaysia's history. To date, MOF had received over 1,000 responses and comments on Budget 2022.
Following the shooting incident involving an army personnel in Kampung Kolong 1 yesterday, the army will form an inquiry team to improve security procedures and governance. Chief of Defence Force General Tan Sri Afendi Buang said the formation of the team was to avoid such incidents from recurring.
He said the focus of the Malaysian Armed Forces, MAF, now was to help the family of the personnel involved so that his widow and child receive appropriate assistance. The MAF will also hold a special press conference regarding the incident so that there will be no speculation or negative perception from the community.
Saya mengambil keputusan ini mengucapkan takziah kepada keluarga mereka dan segala pengurusan kebajikan untuk keluarga arwah ni kan kita sedang ambil tindakan kan untuk menentukan bahawa Balu dan juga anak arwah ni mendapat sokongan dan juga pertolongan yang sepatutnya lah. Buat masa ni inilah saja yang boleh saya nyatakan kan. Saya tak nak mengacau tindakan dan siasatan daripada pihak polis. Pada satu masa nanti kita akan membuat satu sidang yang khas untuk kita menjawab dan juga menerangkan kejadian-kejadian ini supaya tidak ada salah faham.
On Wednesday, an army personnel shot himself after firing several shots into the air at a house in Kampung Kolong 1, Sungai Tengah, Jalan Matang. The suspect's mother-in-law was also injured in the incident. It was believed that the 28-year-old suspect arrived at the scene of the incident to settle a dispute.
Meanwhile, a man in Cebu claimed that voices in his head drove him to rob a supermarket in Cebu Jaya. In the 1:15 p.m. incident on Wednesday, the 37-year-old suspect armed with a knife was said to have entered the supermarket and ran amok.
According to Cebu District Police Chief PSP Colin Babat, the incident occurred when the supermarket manager was doing goods inspection at the premise and heard a commotion at the front counter of the supermarket. The suspect then proceeded to trash the goods in the supermarket before brandishing a knife at 2 female cashiers at the payment counter. Fearing for their lives, the 2 cashiers fled the scene, causing the suspect to throw the cash register onto the floor. Fortunately, the courageous act of shoppers at the scene managed to defuse the situation, which helped in the arrest of the suspect before being handed over to the police for further action. Initial investigations found that the suspect is a bearer of a psychiatric appointment card and he was off his prescribed medications. The case is being investigated under Section 393 of the Penal Code for attempted robbery.
Teleport is one of the most expensive. Nobody talks about teleport. It's only recently there's a teleport craze, right?
Orang muda-muda sekarang ni susah sikit nak ambil bagian batu.
Dia minta saya buat chop. Saya kata kenapa benda ni sampai ke besut. Dia kata tak ada orang berani nak buat.
The story of teleport, the carrier of legacy.
Join me, Arabird, as we reveal this fading art only on The Claw Story.
Setia bersama saya Sharon Kizia pada setiap hari Selasa pukul 9.30 pagi hanya di TVS saluran 122 Astro dan My TV. Saya Sharon Kizia hanya dalam siaran Suara Wanita menginspirasikan duniamu.
Polis tidak akan berkumpul 16 items kerana abad kandang benua pusing korban diingat yang mampu merentang terutama di kawasan Ujung Email datang Padahal caranya Indonesia and Malaysia.
Meskipun reda dengan
Assalamualaikum dan salam sejahtera.
Warnailah hidupmu, ambilkanlah bakat
Welcome back. Sarawak today recorded 1,061 new COVID-19 infections. However, only 20 or 1.89% of the total were reported to be lung infections which require oxygen and ventilator assistance. The remaining 1,041 cases or 98.11% were reported to be asymptomatic under categories 1 and 2.
The number of COVID-19 cases today brings the cumulative number of infections in the state to 228,736 cases. Sarawak Disaster Management Committee (SDMC) announced that 23 fatalities were reported from October 1st to October 13th. No new cluster was reported today, while 3 existing clusters were officially ended.
And besides senior citizens and frontliners, other groups will also be given the booster shots. According to Health Minister Khairi Jamaluddin, his ministry will always strive to provide the best services to the people, especially in the effort to control and deal with the COVID-19 pandemic.
At the same time, Khairi said MOH also plans to start a study on different types of vaccines for the booster shots. The study will be carried out in Sarawak in November 2021 and would be extended to other states after getting approval from the Medical Research and Ethics Committee (MREC). Meanwhile, MOH guarantees that the supply of vaccines in Malaysia is sufficient for the implementation of additional doses and booster dose.
Expect to see more COVID-19 self-test kits on supermarket shelves and in chain stores in the coming weeks, as the item will be made available commercially starting this month. Minister of Domestic Trade and Consumer Affairs, Dato' Sri Alexander Nantalinggi, said they were in the final stage of discussion with the Ministry of Health regarding the matter.
Lebih banyak lagi premis-premis ini menjual test kit ini dan lebih banyak sudah diluluskan jenama test kit ini di pasaran, sudah tentu akan turunlah kerana ada persaingan. Sebab kit itu adalah berarti yang di bawah MDA lah, itu Medical Device Authority ya.
Currently, the self-test kits are sold at all registered community pharmacies or health facilities nationwide. Nantal also assured that the new retail and wholesale ceiling prices for the self-test kits would not have an effect on industry players.
Harga adalah di bawah KPDN IGP. Jadi kami bersama KKM ni telah membuat libat urus dan berbincang hal ini dan sudah juga sampai ke satu yang kita boleh bersetuju berapa harganya nanti. Jadi untuk adil kepada semua pihak, biarlah kami melihat dulu, kami teliti, kita nak buat yang terbaiklah kepada pengguna, juga kepada tidak memberi kesan buruk kepada peniaga.
On September 5th, the maximum retail price for the COVID-19 self-test kit was fixed at 19 ringgit and 90 cents, whereas the wholesale price was set at 16 ringgit.
Major telecommunication companies or telcos in the country will be offering 2 special packages, namely the Keluarga Malaysia Teen Package and Keluarga Malaysia Device Package for 6 months starting tomorrow. Communications and Multimedia Minister Tan Sri Anwar Musa said it was the government's initiative to help teenagers and students gain access to the internet and provide affordable smart devices to the less fortunate.
Anwar Musa made the statement at the launch of the 2 packages in Putrajaya today. The telcos offering the packages are Celcom, Digi, Maxis, U-Mobile, Telekom Malaysia and YTL. Anwar added his ministry anticipated that the packages would benefit over 200,000 people within the 6-month period. The teen package is a special prepaid package for teenagers and students aged between 12 and 21 years old to enjoy 20 gigabyte data for 90 days at the price of 30 ringgit. The device package, on the other hand, will enable people to own and upgrade to smart devices with voice over long-term evolution technology for free. Anwar announced that he would personally finance 1,000 teen and device packages for hardcore destitute orphans to help the telecoms carry out their corporate social responsibility initiatives. This was to ensure that the poor orphans can also enjoy better connectivity and increase their productivity.
And Malaysia has contributed 5 million ringgit to the Palestinian government for the rebuilding of the Al Rimal Clinic, which also houses the one and only COVID-19 testing laboratory in Gaza.
The clinic was damaged by Israeli airstrikes last May. The exchange of notes EON on the contribution was signed by Malaysian Foreign Minister Datuk Saifuddin Abdullah and Palestinian Ambassador to Malaysia Walid Abu Ali at the Foreign Ministry Wisma Putra. Saifuddin said the contribution, which is funded by allocation from the National Disaster Relief Trust Fund under the National Disaster Management Agency (NADMA), reflected Malaysia's unwavering support for the government and the people of Palestine. Meanwhile, the Malaysian government has decided to extend predictable long-term contribution to the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestine Refugees in the Near East UNRWA in support of the agency's efforts to assist Palestinians. In addition to the previous financial contributions to UNRWA, he said the government has allocated $1 million to be disbursed annually in the amount of $200,000 from 2021 until 2025. Apart from financial aid, Saifuddin said Malaysia is also looking into ways of facilitating the Palestinians in terms of education and employment.
This 这就是我本身非常爱的一种牛腰桂，它叫 On Day On Day。我相信在疫情底下呢，大家都可以吃到这些美味的糕点。那这一集的故事主角呢，他本身之前是一名空少，他叫 Edmund。那高空着陆之后，他开始思考停飞的日子该怎么办呢？于是他把这事业领域转战到这个龟牛腰的市场。每个星期六下午6点15分。 TVS 的中文节目《疫情下的创业故事》一定要收看，请锁定 Astro 频道122和 My TV。
Selama 58 tahun Sarawak Merdeka, kerajaan negeri telah berusaha membangunkan negeri dan mengutamakan keselesaan rakyat. Sarawak telah mencapai kemajuan pesat dalam segala aspek pembangunan dari segi fizikal, ekonomi dan sosial. Bagi mengikuti semua kemajuan yang telah dan bakal dilaksanakan, saksikan Randau Jalai Pemansang program temu bual berbahasa Iban bermula 17 Oktober ini setiap Ahad jam 9 malam hanya di TVS saluran 122 Astro dan My TV.
Rezeki Tuhan, rezeki tanah.
And a blaze at a residential building in Taiwan killed at least 40 people and hospitalized 60 others. The fire broke out in the early hours of Thursday at a 13-story residential building in the southern Kaohsiung city.
Local television footage showed firefighters dousing the flaming building with water, while rescue personnel carried residents away on stretchers, many wearing oxygen masks. Kaohsiung Fire Chief Lee Ching-Xiu said firefighters were still going through the building to look for survivors or any remains. According to Taiwan's Central News Agency, the 40-year-old building has 120 households on 13 stories, with shops on the lower levels and apartments above. The fire was extinguished at around 7:15 a.m. local time. The government is investigating the cause, including whether arson was to blame.
And wrapping up Nightline, Kenyan distance runner Ignis Tirop, a 2-time World Championship bronze medalist, was found stabbed to death at her home, local police said on Wednesday. The 25-year-old represented Kenya in the 5,000-meter event at the Tokyo Olympics and finished 4th in the finals.
Local police listed Tirop's husband as the main suspect.
Wamempata Tirop akiwa wako kwa kitanda, damu iko chini ya kitanda na damu imemwagika chini ambao sio kidogo. Wakati waliangalia mwili ni kama amedungwa kitu kwa shingo ambao tunajaribu kusema ya kwamba ende ikawa ni kitu kama kisu, na tunajaribu kuamini kutokana na hiyo ilifanya apate hicho kifo chake. Bwana yake mpaka saa hii hajapatikana.
Last month, Tirop smashed the woman on the 10-kilometer world record in Germany, crossing the line in 30 minutes and 1 second to shave 28 seconds from the previous record held by Morocco's SME Legzawi from 2002. Tirop won bronze medals at the 2017 and 2019 World Championships in the 10,000-meter and also won the 2015 World Cross Country Championships.
And that's all the time we have for Nightline. For the latest news, you can follow our website at TVSTVMY or follow us on our social media. I'm Douglas Elliott. Thank you and good night.